Salesforce made a pretty big announcement just the other day, creating a brand new role, the COFO, Chief Operating Officer and Chief Financial Officer, COO and CFO roles combined together. Robin Washington, well respected in the industry. She's actually currently the lead director of the board at Salesforce. She's been in that role since 2022. She's been on the board since 2013. She's on other boards, Alphabet, Honeywell, and Benioff had a lot of nice things to say about her. Very excited about where she can take Salesforce moving forward, which I'll get to in a minute. Let's talk a little bit about the other component to this, which is, I said, COO and CFO merged together. So first, the market reacted with a little bit of skepticism, some concern, right? How is Robin going to be able to do both roles? Those are both very important strategic roles within a corporation. I think the market dipped, or the shares dipped about 3.5% overnight after the announcement. Not too concerned about that. I think the other issue here is the simple fact that you have Brian Millham, the current president and COO, who's been at Salesforce for 25 years. He's moving on. He's going to be retiring. It was part of the announcement starting in May. Now, I think he's staying on in an advisor role. There's not a lot of detail around that. That's pretty common. But there's some bigger implications to Brian moving on, which I'm going to get to momentarily regarding what the customers should be thinking about. And then there's the CFO component. Amy Weaver, been at Salesforce for I think like 12 years, maybe 11 years. This was announced a little while back that she'd be leaving. She's still going to stay on in a special advisory role, I think they're calling it, through April or May of 2026, an advisor to Benioff. So obviously there's some shakeup there, right? It's not only a new role that's creating a little bit of concern and skepticism, the COFO. You got Millham leaving, Amy Weaver's leaving. So there's a lot of uncertainty there. Now, I mentioned a minute ago, Benioff's very excited. Of course he is, right? Of course he's excited. He's known Robin for a while. So like I said, she's been sitting on the board. She's been in the lead director role there. She's got a lot of experience back in her days at Hyperion and Gilead, and I think she was at PeopleSoft. So no question, right? Well qualified, very exciting. But if you listen to his statement, Benioff's, you can't help but hear the real message. Agentforce, 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 right? It was mentioned throughout his statement about Robin, about the COFO role. He said in the midst of that statement that she's going to be a key architect of our strategy, right? A key architect of Salesforce strategy as we accelerate the rise of Agentforce, right? In this digital labor market. That's huge, right? That's a signal. We already knew that Salesforce and Benioff are focused on Agentforce, right? In AI, right? Of course. Everyone already knew that. That's not me breaking something new, and there's nothing new in that statement to that regard. But I will say is this. If you think about other actions that are going on right now, Benioff recently saying there's thousands of deals coming that they're going to be reporting as part of their Q4, which is going to be announced, or the earnings report's going to come out in February 2026. It's going to be thousands of Agentforce deals. We know that their recent announcement, they're going to be laying off about 1,000 people, but they're also hiring 2,000 people into sales roles selling AI. So obviously AI is the focus. Obviously Robin is going to be laser focused on, right? She's a CFO. Financial performance, margins, AI, consumption base, high margins, push, aggressive push. Obviously this all ties together. But I want to talk about the departure of Brian Millham. I think customers really need to pay attention to this, right? There's a lot of customers out there that likely have strategic relationships with Brian, right? A lot of customers we work with, those kind of senior executive sponsor type of interactions or relationships or quarterly check-ins, or when times are tough, they reach out to Brian, or even during the negotiation of their renewal or a net new product, Brian gets involved, maybe not necessarily doing the negotiating, but he's certainly part of that. So if you're one of these customers, I highly recommend reaching out, asking about the transition, learning more about what this means, right? Those relationships are important. Let Salesforce know that you have some concern. The other thing, and I'm already starting to hear this, within 24 hours of the announcement, I have many of my customers, clients, CIOs, chief digital officers, CTOs, so forth and so on, line of business executives, saying to me they're a little concerned because Brian was president and COO. Now is my relationship going to be with someone who's also a CFO, who they understand the role, right, of a CFO, financial performance, investors, right? How to margins, expenses, things like that. Like that is creating some skepticism from these executives at these customers. And I think Salesforce needs to get ahead of this. I would recommend Salesforce reaching out and saying, hey, look, don't have concerns. We want to schedule a meeting with Rob. And again, at these strategic customers, millions and millions of dollars, adoption of AI probably already. Like there's a lot on the line here, and Salesforce needs to show quickly that Brian leaving, Amy leaving as well, by the way, they need to bring some assurances, not just to the financial community, but to their customers, and especially those ones who've built relationships with Brian specifically.